Have you seen the daffodils? If the day starts with daffodils and an F horn and a familiar tune, it could be a good day. This morning we gather to reflect on what it means to live with integrity, to bring our values and our actions closer to alignment. So may this hour offer us space to listen more deeply for what matters most. Les?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Les Tacey. I'm today's worship associate. I want to welcome those of you that are in the sanctuary, as well as those of you that are on Zoom. Welcome. If you're new today, there's a guest book out there that you can fill out if you want, or there's also one online for those of you that are on Zoom. I want you to know that we have a board greeter here today, Susan Conley, and she's more than happy to show you around the church if you're new or if you answer any questions you may have. Today's theme is aligning what matters most. We gather with the understanding that to give is to create a space in which something new can grow. Giving isn't about just material things, but also about attention, compassion, courage, and presence. Each time we offer these gifts, we make room in the world and in one another for possibility. In this community, we practice that kind of giving. We give one another the space to arrive as we are, our questions, our hopes, and our gifts. And each time we offer gifts, we make room for renewed purpose, a shared commitment to what matters most. Whoever you are, or wherever you come from, and whatever path you're walking, there's a place for you right here. May this time together open space within us and among us for reflection, a generosity of spirit, and the quiet growth of something meaningful. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Bill, do you care to help me with some announcements?
I can do that. But you know, there are actually several announcements on the back of the order of service.
Okay.
If people haven't seen that.
Yeah, right back there.
Yeah. And then there's also the weekly connections that goes out by email. If you're not getting that, you might want to see an usher and ask them to help get you on that list.
There are a few things happening this week that we want to highlight are correct. Like the potluck that's listed. What? That's not happening. That was last week.
Oops.
Oops. But there will be coffee and refreshments after church over there in the Heritage Room.
And that's really okay, because it'll give folks a chance to check out the Democracy Action Team tables.
Right.
Where they can, they're going to help you figure out how to very quickly, very easily reach out to your legislators for matters that are important. And the other thing that I'm really excited about is we're writing a letter to some of our colleagues in Minnesota who've been standing up for justice for us. So if you want to help write a love note there, the letter's written, we just need your autograph on it.
And one of the things that caught my eye in the announcements, because I'm a musician too, it's the songwriter Jim Scott. You know, I understand that there's a special program tonight at St. John's Unitarian Church in Clifton. And he's written some of the songs in our hymnal, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's also an eco-activist, and he's one of the folks who created the Green Sanctuary program, where congregations lean into ecological justice type issues.
Right.
The other thing I was going to mention, though, and it's 7 o'clock p.m., $20 suggested donation for that.
Right.
At St. John's. There's another music thing happening, though. It's today at 2 o'clock. It's called Resistance Singing. And I participated in this downtown at Washington Park a couple weeks ago. This could be a powerful thing. And we may be sharing time with St. Timothy's Episcopal, sometimes doing it there, sometimes here. Today, it's there at 2 p.m.
Do we need to know how to sing?
You don't have to know how to sing. You don't have to know the songs. That's very easy to pick up, which is one of the beautiful things about it. So I know you would enjoy it. I think you'd enjoy it, and I know you all would enjoy it.
Then this Thursday at 7 p.m., there's a special program here at Heritage called The Spirituality of Resistance.
Is it Thursday or Tuesday? It's Tuesday.
See, now you're paying attention, which is what I was going for there. So it is Tuesday.
Our Director of Lifespan Faith Development, Lacey Lee Adams, will lead this adult faith development program. It's part of a series, but you do not have to have attended the other ones in the past. They will meet in the Heritage Room.
Well, that's all I have. Shall I sit down and let you do the call to worship?
Maybe,
Yep.
as long as you don't take this with you.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, that's mine. Okay.
Thank you for letting us have fun in church. It's okay, right?
Yes.
We gather this morning. Oh, you want to come on up? Ruby? Ruby is so kind to offer to light our chalice for us. We gather this morning to pause from the busyness of our lives and remember what matters most. As this chalice is lit, may its flame remind us that each of us carries the power to align our lives with our values and to build a more loving world together. Thank you, Ruby. As we begin our worship together, I invite you to rise in body or spirit and come sing a song with me. That's actually the name of the song. Come sing a song with me. The words should appear behind me. And afterward, please remain standing for our covenant.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. And I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and rose in the winter time.
Lead the covenant for us.
Spirit of life. By this covenant, we affirm that love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus we covenant with each other and the universe.
You can be seated. This is what's known as the time for all ages. And it's a good time for folks of any age who want to get closer to come up here. Often younger people want to do that, and older people like me like to do it and sit down on something that's not quite the ground. Any folks want to come up? It could be very profitable today. Just saying. We got one taker. Crossley, you want to come up? Truly, anybody else? We've got room. You sit down there if you want to. I'll come over here because I want to tell you a story. It's a true story. It's about my father. My father was an interesting person, and he had this great idea when he was about 30 years old that he could take his hobby of collecting old coins. Anybody else ever collected coins? Find them kind of interesting? Yeah? So he found that really interesting. And he learned that sometimes old coins, especially if they haven't been handled a lot, can be worth a lot of money. Did you know that? Especially if they're made out of gold or silver, they can be worth a whole lot of money these days. Yeah? So have you ever collected a coin? Do you have some old coins? Coins from a different country. That's always a fun souvenir, right? To bring some coins back. How about you? From the UK. Yeah, so it might have had a picture of the Queen on it, because a lot of their coins had the picture of the Queen, or maybe now the King. I haven't seen the new coins yet. So, but he was looking at American coins, and he decided that if he could get a bunch of pennies, brand new from the bank, and put them away, they would eventually maybe be worth a lot of money. And that's what he did. He got a whole bag of pennies, a bunch of brand new uncirculated pennies. That means they've not been passed around. People haven't used them to buy stuff, right? He put them in the bag, and he hid them under the floor of his closet. He pulled up the floorboards, he hid them underneath the floor of the closet, and he forgot about them. Isn't that funny? He'd put a note in there saying what he did, and that someday he wanted to see how much he was going to be worth. Well, he passed away about 30 some years ago, and then my mom passed away. But before she died, she said, "Billy," that's what she called me back then, "why don't you get under those floorboards in the closet and see what your dad's got hid there?" And among the things I found was this bag of pennies, right? And so she said, "Let's go see how much they're worth." Right? Because there's a whole bag of pennies. So we went and we what do you think they're worth? What do you think a penny like this? $100, okay? Any other ideas? It's a 1953 uncirculated penny with a D on it, which means it was minted in the city of Denver, right? Somebody knows her coins. CPA. Yeah? 1,000, okay. Anybody else? $1.05? All right. And any other ideas? Yeah, it turns out that a 1953 uncirculated penny with a D mark is worth about a penny. And I actually verified that yesterday. I went to the Coin Plus shop up there on Beachmont, and I asked him, and I said, we're not going to make any more pennies anymore. Does that make them more rare? And it's made out of copper, real copper. And he says, yeah, they're worth about 3 cents now. It was taking about 3 cents to make a penny, which is why it's about 3 cents. Anyway, it reminded me of a song that I was going to ask my friend Les to play for us. It's called The Magic Penny. It was written by a Unitarian Universalist woman named Malvina Reynolds. You might recognize it. If so, you can sing along. Mm-hmm. It's called The Magic Penny, and basically the words go something like this. It's about love, not money. It's about love. It says, love is something, if you give it away, you'll end up having more. It's just like a magic penny. If you hold it close, you won't have many. But if you lend it, if you spend it, you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. Isn't that a funny thought to think about money rolling over the floor in love? Anyway, sing it to us.
Sing with me if you want. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more. It's just like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any. It's lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many. They'll roll all over the floor. For love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more. You're welcome.
So I think Lacey's going to help me with something, but here's the thing I wanted you to know about this. I got to wondering if my father hadn't put those pennies in the bag, if instead he'd chosen to use it, to put it out there in circulation, to lend it to folks or give it to folks or buy candy with it. Because there used to be penny candy you could buy for a penny. What would happen if he had done that? Might we have more love in the world? Anyway, so what I have for you is I have for each of you one of those pennies that was in the bag. That's yours to keep, to decide that you want to keep or give away, or it's your total choice what you do with it. And we have a few extras, and if you were born in 1953 yourself, see me after when I've got one for you. Lacey?
All right, we are going to go and do a scavenger hunt as we learn more about spring holidays, particularly Purim. So if you all want to know anything about Purim at coffee hour, these will be your experts. Now, before we go, though, the congregation I'm going to lead the congregation in a blessing of all of you, okay? So remember, when they give blessings to you, it's meaning that they're telling you something really important that they want you to hear. Yes? Okay. Everyone ready? Okay. We want you to know that we see your beauty and worth. And we are excited to make more love in the world with you. Blessed be. Now we go.
Thank you, Lacey.
At this time, we move into our candles of community, a moment when we share our joys and sorrows of our lives. You know, when we name a joy, we allow the community to celebrate with us. And when we name a sorrow, we allow the community to hold a bit of that weight with us. For those on Zoom, the chat feature will be available soon. And if you feel moved, you will soon be invited to line up on either side of the sanctuary. And as you share, Reverend Bill will light a candle for you. I invite you to keep your words brief so all voices may be heard and many stories may have space. In doing so, we actually practice our theme for today, creating space where something new can grow, compassion, understanding, and connection among us. And we also have this birthday jar right here. But it's not just for birthdays, it's for any anniversary or milestone, and the funds from this jar go to help maintain our memorial garden out there. And as always, you are welcome to have a candle lit in silence. So, do we have joys and sorrows among us today? As we look upon the candles that are glowing here before us, we recognize that many among us carry unspoken prayers, needs, memories, and longings that remain held quietly within. For those unvoiced joys and concerns, let's light one final candle. May these lights remind us we are not alone, and that together we hold one another in community.
Let's just take a very short moment of reverence. Spirit of life, we hold in our hearts the joys and sorrows just shared, the gratitude, the grief, the hopes, and the uncertainties that shape our days. Help us remember that none of us carries these alone. In this community, we share the work of living, loving, and seeking what matters most. Now, in the quiet that follows, may we listen for the still, small voice within that calls us toward deeper wholeness and compassion. Let us enter a moment of silence together. Amen. Have you ever thought about how challenging it can be for someone emerging from poverty to make sense of budgeting, saving, or building credit? Especially if no one has ever had a chance to teach them how those systems work. This morning, our offering, for those who don't know, each week Heritage takes up our offering and shares it with a worthy nonprofit. That's where our plate goes. This morning, the offering goes to support the Financial Empowerment Center of the Urban League of Greater Cincinnati. The center helps low and moderate income households build financial stability, move toward economic self-sufficiency through one-on-one financial coaching and practical workshops. Their work recognizes something simple but powerful. Financial stability is often the foundation that allows families and communities to thrive. By helping people gain the knowledge and tools and confidence to manage their finances and build wealth over time, the center empowers individuals and families to create more secure futures. In a service when we're reflecting on aligning our resources with what matters most, it feels especially fitting to support a program that helps people strengthen their financial lives and build brighter possibilities. The offering will now be received. Thank you for your generosity, the generosity that is also the spirit of this church.
Please consider with me these words by Parker Palmer, an adaptation from A Hidden Wholeness. We spend much of our lives trying to hold together what feels divided. The outer life, what we do, what we give and what we build, and the inner life, what we believe, what we value, what calls to us most deeply. When these two drift apart, we feel it. Our work can feel hollow, our commitments can feel scattered, and the things we care about most can remain only ideas rather than realities. But when our outer lives begin to reflect our inner conviction, something changes. We begin to live with greater integrity. Our actions begin to express what we believe. The resources we hold, our time, our energy, our money, our attention, become tools for building the kind of world we say we want. Living this way does not mean everything becomes easy, but it does mean that our lives become more whole. The choices we make, even small ones, become ways of aligning our resources with what matters most. And when a community does this together, something powerful happens. What we value becomes visible, what we believe becomes embodied, and what we hope for begins to grow. Alignment between what we believe and how we live becomes the quiet work of living an undivided life.
Wow. Anybody here ever driven a car? Or at least ridden in one that was out of alignment? The car still drives. It still generally gets you where you need to go, but the ride is rougher than it should be, right? There's stress actually on the whole system. Steering is impaired, tires wear unevenly, even the driver may be rattled or the passenger. Misalignment, whether in our cars or in our lives, is seldom an emergency, but it's not nothing. Misalignment is about maintenance, not repair. I remember a car that my sister used to drive, an ancient Ford LTD. Built like a tank, remarkably unsexy, and desperately in need of a front-end alignment. So once, while riding as a passenger in the car with her, I noticed the shaking and the rattling and the veering. And I asked her about it. And she showed me her solution. Turn up the volume on the 8-track and keep on driving. Hey, at least the music was good. But not addressing the root issue has long-term effects. And cars are not the only place where misalignment shows up. Maybe you've noticed it in your own life. Despite best intentions, life pulls us in many directions. We drift. Our calendars drift. Spending drifts. Attention drifts. We don't notice it at first. And even as we do, it's easy to dismiss. Turn up the volume. We normalize it, the rattles and the stress and the misalignment. Time and money begin serving urgency instead of intention. And then we look at our credit card statements or our daily planners, and we may realize that we may not be spending our resources on what matters most. Maybe we've drifted so far that we question whether we even remember what matters most. It may show up in deeper questions too. Ask yourself these. Who am I? Who am I becoming? And is that who I'm meant to be? At the level of purpose, alignment is a spiritual practice, not just a mechanical one. So I wonder how you are asking and answering those questions in this season of your life. You don't need to answer out loud, but maybe just notice what comes up. See, these are very personal questions, yet they echo the questions that we as a congregation have been challenged to answer over this past year. Who are we? Who are we becoming? And are we aligned with those things? The question is not, are we in crisis? We are not. The lights are on, the choir sings beautifully, I might add. Our children are laughing and learning, and we with them. There are so many great things happening in this church. You think about that offering we took on behalf of a nonprofit in the community doing good work. We do that every week. Our weekly offering goes outward every Sunday. And that practice may seem unusual, especially for some of you who are newer. But over time, it's actually deepened the generosity of this congregation, not diminished it. When this congregation began asking what belongs here and what belongs beyond, the answer for both was more. that was a very important moment of what I call recalibration. And at this new threshold, having asked questions of ourselves, we notice a few things. There's renewed energy in the sanctuary and in our social justice work. We have weathered storms, and we are doing church very well here. It is not, however, without stress to the system. Volunteers feel strain, especially some who have given so much for so long. Compensation for our staff lags. As an organization that affirms the dignity of all and advocates for economic justice, this seems like a mismatch. And we've delayed improvements and repairs to our building and grounds because we could. I think we've done an amazing job of making do while caring for one another. And you can feel that spirit around the piano with Sherry as we sing songs, often from the 70s. Even in leaner seasons, this community knows how to keep on singing. My sister would love it. Just keep on singing. Still, we're at a threshold that calls us to reflect, to answer honest questions, and perhaps to recalibrate. I mentioned earlier that our weekly offering goes outward. This aligns with our values. It's part of who we are. It is pledges, however, from members and friends that sustain the church. They are what allow our board to plan prudently. They are what allow us to turn shared aspiration into faithful and responsible action. And in our case, there's no higher earthly power we can call on to provide for us. In the free church tradition, what sustains this congregation is the shared commitment of the people who are here. And the blessing is, we don't have to answer to that hierarchical body. That's why, even if we don't talk much about it in our tradition, money is tied to belief and faith. So is time. So is energy. So is love. I've seen that magic that happens when people invest deeply in church life, not only for the good of the congregation, but for the good of their own souls as well. There's that line from Matthew 6:21, "For where your treasure is, there also will your heart be." Of course, we draw from multiple sources of wisdom, and many of them offer formulas to guide us. Across traditions, the question is the same: what portion of our resources belong to the common good? Jewish and Christian traditions often give us guidelines in terms of a percentage of our income. In Islam, zakat, an annual practice of charitable giving, is tied instead to accumulated assets. And this isn't about following a rule, it's just about being intentional. Those traditions invite us to look honestly at our lives and decide what alignment looks like in our own households. So Barb and I have been doing the same work ourselves. At this point in our lives, some things that used to matter don't matter as much. Other things matter more. Some resources have grown, others have diminished. As we look at the whole picture, our time, our income, our accumulated assets, we asked what portion of our resources should go toward the causes we care about. And then, within that commitment, we asked two further questions. What belongs here to this spiritual home? And what belongs beyond to the other causes we value? By asking those questions, we landed on a pledge for this year that's around 25% higher than last year. We didn't plan it that way. It's just where it landed when we took the time to consider what felt right for our family. Alignment looks different in different lives and different seasons because our time and our income and our responsibilities are not the same. And that kind of thoughtful alignment doesn't happen in a hurry. In the past, many of us, myself included, felt a sense of pride in how quickly we got our pledges in, perhaps replying to the email the same day. It was efficient, it was easy, and it made our stewardship chair happy. But in truth, that efficiency often skipped over the very work that faithful discernment requires. We were checking a box rather than checking our alignment. So this year, the board, our stewardship chair, and I are asking you to do something a little counterintuitive. Please don't feel the need to respond immediately. Instead of simply replying out of habit, give yourself the gift of time. Time to reflect on the whole picture of your resources. Time to notice where your wheels are pulling. Time to name what matters most at this point in your life. Then let your resources follow your love. Alignment is simply when the direction of our resources matches the direction of our hearts.
Thank you, Bill. Reverend Bill has invited us to reflect on alignment, making sure our resources reflect what matters most. Over the past year, the board has been asking that same question about our congregation. As we listened to the congregation and reflected together, a few priorities became clear. Supporting the people who sustain this community, reducing strain on volunteers who give so much of their time and energy, strengthening the connections that help people find belonging here, and caring responsibly for the building that holds our shared ministry. Two of the clearest steps in that direction are bringing our staff compensation up to the minimum level recommended by the Unitarian Universalist Association and adding a small part-time position focused on member engagement and communication. That role would help people connect more easily with one another and with the life of the church. To move toward those goals, the board has approved an aspirational budget of about $295,000 for the coming year. Of that, our pledge goal is about $250,000. This is a thoughtful stretch for us as a congregation, and it reflects the priorities that we've named together. It's also important to say what this is not. We are not planning a structural deficit, and we are not assuming that everything will happen all at once. As the pledges come in, we will implement these steps responsibly and in phases. In other words, this is not about doing everything immediately. It's about moving steadily toward the congregation that we say we want to be. Reed will now share how we can respond to that invitation.
Thank you, Susan. I'm Reed Hester, Finance Chair and Stewardship Chair. Bill, I'm going to go off script just a little bit here at the offset, if that's okay. As I walked in this morning and said hello to a number of people, people said, "Oh, Reed, I haven't seen you in a while." And then a couple of people, more than one, said, "Oh." I know what Sunday this is. So it's true. I may not show up on a Sunday as often as I might like, or Jen with me. But we have raised our kids in this church, those two that I mentioned earlier during Candles of Community. They've really become who they are, undoubtedly, based largely on their growth and learning here at Heritage. And really in a later season of life, when my in-laws moved to Cincinnati about 11 years ago now, Barb and Doug Beasley, they immediately found a home in this church. It's become an anchor for them, both socially and spiritually, the choir, and so many activities at church. I don't know how many of you and your families use Find My on your phones to kind of see where different members. I know my in-laws are either going to be at home or here. I can look and see where they're going to be. So if you're not seeing me or Jen at church every Sunday, know that some of us are participating in our worship via committee meetings. That's a frequent form of connection, and truly a meaningful form of connection for me these days. And we're in a season of our life where we're about to have one kid 7 hours in one direction, one kid 7 hours in the other. So this will go on a little longer, but we really feel the importance of investing in this community as much today in this season of our life as we did the day that we walked in the door holding Diana, not yet 1 year old, and Bob Booth said, "You must be the Hesters." There's a story there if anyone wants to hear it. We'd never met him before, by the way. So that connection is real, it's deep, it's meaningful, and it's the kind of thing we'll be reflecting on as we think about our pledge for this year. So as Bill said earlier, we are inviting everyone to take that time and reflect before responding. Later this week, as you've all come to expect, you'll receive an email with a link to our pledge form. That email will contain information about what we are hoping to achieve with our aspirational goals this year. It'll contain information about your pledge and some information that you can take in to kind of consider how you should approach pledging in this year. Things like the stewardship, a link to the stewardship page on the HUUC website. As of right now, if you go to that stewardship page, it's always there, it's always up, but you'll see last year's information. The copy for that page is with our HUUC webmaster now, and it should be going live any minute this week to be updated for this year's pledge campaign. So you'll get a link to that site that will have even more information about the pledge campaign. So some people find that helpful. There'll be a link to the UU Fair Share Giving Guide. That's also a helpful, just one more source of information for you to help think about your pledge. But really, most importantly, as Bill said, we are not asking for that immediate, let me get right back to read and win a prize for being the first to pledge this year. Instead, we really encourage you to take the time to reflect on what matters most and how your resources align with that. And then do pledge, please. Don't skip that part. Now, over the next few weeks, we'll be sharing some additional resources. There may be some surprises along the way about some ideas and some things we have in store for this year's stewardship campaign. There will be opportunities to engage more deeply with this conversation about stewardship and alignment. And once you've had time to reflect, we do invite you to submit your pledge in whatever way is the easiest, whether that's our pledge form, which you can link is a form on our website that you can fill out, or simply emailing huucpledge@gmail.com to let me know your pledge. And if you have questions along the way, as always, I'm available, happy to help. Thanks so much.
Choir, you might not want to sit down, because I'm going to invite all of us to join hands around the sanctuary as we're able. And if we're comfortable doing so, please step to the aisles and connect with those nearest to you as we form a circle together. Take your time. I think we are now connected. As we leave this place today, may we carry with us the quiet work of alignment, letting our time, our energy, and our resources reflect what matters most. And may the love that we share here continue to guide our choices, shape the world we're helping to build together. Anne Lyon, no relation, would you please extinguish our chalice for us? There we go. And last, would you lead us in our benediction?